No, because that's the FQBW, right? Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be here. I am going.
Okay, had that. 19. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Patricia Nicole, Painted Hair, and I am excited to be here joining Schwarzkopf USA. I'm going to be talking about all things IGORA Royal Fashion Lights, and I have them here right now. I have two that I'm going to be using, and I have a model that I work with all the time whenever I use this high lift series because it's so beautiful and it's so versatile, and it's something that you can really use on a client that you want to create a look that's going to be one where you're going to be able to get a bold look without having to use any lighteners. So I'm going to really move her over and be able to show. This is Davina.
Hi everyone.
And so I'm going to show you her hair because I think the last time I brought her in was maybe it was about 10 weeks ago. And so one of the biggest questions I get asked about IGORA Royal Fashion Lights is how does it fade? And the last look that I did for her was the L-88. And it's a red violet look. And I have the swatch here, but I'm going to show you what that looks like. If you go to my page and you look, it's going to be this really, really intense, you see it here, it's that bold red violet. And her look was really dark. It was really moody. But when it fades so beautifully. And so what that does is it allows you to be able to change your look throughout without having to be stuck with something, that you may want to do something different with later. So what I love about the IGORA Royal Fashion Lights is the technology in it. It has fiber bond technology, which is so amazing. The reason why it's amazing is because it's going to give you the ability to lift 5 levels, deposit a rich fashion shade, and it tones all at the same time. But what I love to do with IGORA Royal Fashion Lights is I love to tone over it to be able to give myself an even more versatile look. You don't have to tone with it, but I like to do that just to if I'm going in, I'm creating a dimensional look, all of the hair that's left out, I like to either go in low light or I like to put a color on top of it just to give myself, different dimensions of color throughout. Or if I'm doing something like I'm using the L-77, which is a copper, then I can go in and I can put something on top of it and then I can change that color slightly to do whatever I want to do with it, maybe add some red to it or whatnot to make it my own. So there's a lot that you can do to play around with these tones and really do something with it. All right, so I'm going to show you what it looks like and what I'm doing. So here I have it mixed up. This is what it looks like. And I'm actually going to be creating a look for Davina. I'm going to be showing you some placement on camera, which I'm excited about. And I was so excited that Davina was available. I called her up. I was like, "Hey, we have to do this together." And she jumped.
Of course.
she was excited to be here with all of you. And so that makes me really happy. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, will this color lift through hair that's been previously colored? Like somebody like her, as you can see, she has a base on. You go ahead and look down, and I'm going to show you exactly what I used for her base. I already applied her base just so that way I can go back in and I can get started with her process. Now, she only gets grays at the top. A lot of you know that some of your clients are like this. For me, I'm the same way. My grays are only at the top. So what I'm using is IGORA Zero Am. And for her, I like to use a natural on her just because she tends to be just more on the darker side. Sometimes I'll throw a different tone in there, but for the most part, I like to just use the Dash Zero with it. just a natural, straightforward. And I already applied the 3-0 at her base here, just to give me a really natural shade. It's no ammonia, but it is permanent. And so I went ahead and started that. And now, because this is a high lift and you are able to lift up to 5 levels, you can lift. You can is the word, the key word. You can lift hair that is colored. And someone like her who does have gray coverage, I am able to lift some of her color that's been faded and really be able to get a beautiful result on her mid lengths and ends with this fashion shade color. So that's something that a lot of people ask all of the time. Also, another question that I get asked is, are there, what are the options that there's cool and warm options. So you can really customize these colors to your clients, whether you have a brunette who wants, a cool look or a warm look. Remember, this is going to give you 5 levels of lift, tone, and deposit. So really be mindful of that. Also, this is also going to be a color that's going to really help you if you're in a time crunch and you're busy and you have clients who are also, maybe want a really beautiful look but don't have a lot of time. This is going to be a really good tool for you because you're going to be able to lift and deposit 45 minutes. And so I am going to go here and I am going to start this process for you and we're going to get started.
Let's go.
Okay. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just where I'm starting. I'm starting in the back here. Okay. Here we go. Okay, go ahead and look down here. Have any grays back here, which is fine. And also we're going to leave her really dimensional because on the sides, I'm going to low light her hair again, just to refresh what we have. And so go ahead, all the way down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave out the sections that I want to low light. If you do see a little bit of gray back here, that's okay. She doesn't mind leaving it back here. And the reason why is because we're more concerned with being able to have access to this area and not have any banding. We want to be able to go in and lighten it or do what we need to do and not worry about buildup of color back here. So the less color we have to fight through, the better. Less is more. Exactly. We were just talking about that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a panel on her longest layer, which is here. I'm going to create a ribbon of the color we're looking for, which is right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, her hair is really long, as you can see. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start my process. One of the questions I get asked is what volume do you use whenever you're working with fashion lights? And this is something that's going to be, a lot of people ask me this and they wonder why, and now I get to explain it. What volume do you use for fashion lights whenever you're processing? And you have to remember that this is not lightener, that this is color. So it needs to work with 40 volume. In order to be able to lift the hair and to deposit the fashion shade, you need to use 40 volume with it to be able to get that beautiful lift and deposit all at the same time. So 40 volume is what you need to use. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go in here. Just like that. All right. So now I'm just working here. And as soon as I'm done, I'm going to be looking at my comments and I'm going to answer some of them for you. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. I would love to answer them for you. Okay. And also, whenever you're working with this color, you also want to make sure that when you go in that you are fully saturating your panel. You want to move that hair back and forth and really work that color in so that way it all moves through the hair very evenly. Just like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to my next panel. So my goal is to create a very dimensional look where I have a red-violet look, and I want her to have more red than violet. So that's why I added these two colors together. Remember that these shades are intermixable. I had the L-89 mixed with the L-88. And as you can see here, I have the shades right here. So these are the two shades that I mixed together. Hi, Lux Hair. Thank you so much. Fashion Lights is 1-to-1. You are right. So whenever you are mixing up your formula, you want to make sure that you are doing whatever part of the formula you want. Let's just say 20 grams of L-88 to 40 grams of L-89, and then 60 grams of your developer, which is 40 volume. Yes. And these shades are so beautiful, and you can come up with so many creative looks. What I love about them is traditionally whenever you use lightener to create a fashion look and you are, let's just say you're going in and you're using lightener, a lot of times that color can fade really fast. But with fashion lights, that color will hold a lot longer and it will fade out so beautifully, as you can see here. She still had a little bit of that tone in her hair, but not very much. So it's going to make it, really nice for me to go back in. And also the hair, when it fades, it doesn't get over lightened. So I can just jump right back in and add that fashion shade right back on top, and there's no problem. The blend stays so nice. Okay, so now I'm going to go in just like that. Hi, Claire. If you have any questions, let me know. Or if there's anything you want me to show you, please let me know. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm doing. Again, the reason why I'm leaving out some of the back is because I'm going to be creating a dimensional look with her. And so you can see she has really long hair. But again, the sections that I'm leaving out, I'm going to be leaving those out to be able to low light them. I'll probably use a -99 to add, more red violet, and then tone it with a red color or a booster. I'm really trying to decide what I want to do. But a lot of times, once I get her foiled and we look at the swatch book together, then we sort of come up with a direction. I know for Davina, you always like your hair to be on the darker side, right? Yeah. So all of the time, we were going to do something really, really rich. And a lot of times, this is something that I like to teach my students and have them understand. Just because it's a level 4 doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like dark or light. You have to think that a level 4 has more pigment. So if you are thinking about a fashion shade at a level 4, that just means that it's going to be a level 4, but it's going to be really rich. So really the focus has to be on what level you lighten the hair to. So that is going to tell you everything you need to know. So for her, if I put a 4-99 on her hair and her hair is lifted to, let's say, a level 8, or level 7, you are going to get more of that rich tone that's going to be deposited on top, and it's going to hold a lot longer and just be more vibrant. That's another reason why I love to use fashion lights, because you're just getting all of this richness in the hair. And again, for her, it lasts so much longer. So I'm just going in, and again, everything I do really is just pushing the hair back. So nothing I'm doing is hard, or like complicated. It's just going in and really working with the hair and just walking it back, just like that. Because I like to create veils of color. And I'm doing this because it's very easy for me to be able to, when I push the hair back, to be able to get it out. So now remember, I'm loading my board in the back because this is going to act like the glue. Go ahead and look down for me a little bit. There we go. So this is going to act like the glue to hold that hair in place, just like that. Then I just take the hair in my hands and I sort of work it down. Hold it just like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I really, really focus on pushing that color through the hair. And then even if you have to go through, you want to make sure that you are painting it and working it through both sides. Saturation is key here. And I always like to lay my foils flat. And the reason I like to do that is because if I want to go back in and check my work, or if whatever I need to do, I don't have to unfold it. I can just lay it down and see exactly which area I need to go back in and touch up. And I just like the way the hair processes. There's other scientific reasons why I keep my foils straight, but I'll cover that in one of my classes or on another live. So there you go. There's that. So going in, then I just go ahead and I lay my foil flat, and then I'll just push that down. Okay. And I like to fold the sides in as well. Okay, moving on. Again, this is your class. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And if I missed anyone, hello. And if you're just joining, we are covering the Fashion Light series from IGORA. So this is IGORA. Right here, let me show you the box. The IGORA Royal Fashion Lights here. So this is what it looks like. And these are all of the shades that you can use. Okay. So if you're enjoying this live, give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, let me know. Okay, so now I'm going to do one more panel at the top of her head. Now remember, sometimes less is more whenever you're creating dimensional looks, and you really have to make sure that you are imagining where your veils of color are going to fall. And also you want to make sure that all of the amount of panels that you place in your hair are going to add to the longest layer in the hair. And so that's what I'm doing whenever I'm going in and I'm creating these veils of red color throughout her hair. I really want to do a touch-up on her, but because she has this hair that's already lightened, I'm going to go ahead and use that as an opportunity to use like a -99 on her from IGORA Vibrance. I like to always pair those two, use these two tools together to create an ultimate look that's going to be so beautiful. Again, I'm Painted Hair on Instagram, so if you want to go back and look at any of my reels that I created with her, I've created so many fashion looks with her, and they're just so gorgeous, which is exactly why I brought her here. Okay, so now again, the reason or how I check the layer length is I just go ahead and I use my comb and I go all the way to the end and I see where her longest length of layer is. So I know that I'm okay because there's this is where her layer is right here. So I know I'm okay to create a panel here, and I don't need to do anything else. So I'm going to go in right at her crown, just like that. So I'm going to take this whole amount of hair here, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut her layers just like that. And remember, all of this hair that's here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to, all this hair that's laying down here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to color. You can see she has some old color throughout here that we're going to work on. So that's fine. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm just going to lay this hair down. And I'm not teasing it. I'm really just walking it down. Just very gently. Nothing is going to ever be pushed or forced. I'm just walking it down all the way to her base. This is really something you have to learn because you have to learn how to hold it. You have to learn what you're doing. You have to go ahead and look down for me. But again, and then I'm just going to walk this towards her base. And you have to learn when to stop, what you're doing, how much hair you want in your section. All of it is a part of the plan of what you're doing and your final result. Okay, so then there's that. And then we're going to lock it in. And I'm going to come underneath just like that. So this is my panel here. I'm doing it a little bit wider because I want her to have a bold result when all of this is out. And remember, all of this hair is going to be toned at the end, so I'm not worried about any of this being pushed back. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start here. If there's something that you want me to show you, let me know. Okay. Okay, so here's my foil again, going in. Oh yeah, so Claire said that she's used them for years on and off and she loves fashion lights. Hi, Wilson Studio. Okay, all right, I'm saying hi to everyone and then I'm moving on. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go in just like that. You can see how clean that panel is right here. I'm just gonna take my hand and very neatly lay this hair down. Here you go. And now I'm gonna go in and I wanna make sure that I'm really working this color into the board. And you can just kind of swipe it up and down just like that with your brush. Again, I always like to fan the hair. So you tone the rest of the hair that's been pushed back after you rinse the foils. Hi, Melina. Yes, I do. That's why I'm not worried about it being back, you know, away from the panel, because this is going to be the darker tone that I'm going to tone, or whatever color I'm going to tone. That is going to come back in and blend in with this beautiful red color. So it's going to create this dimensional look that is going to be so beautiful. And then you can go in and do a color melt, which you can do, which for me, that's what I'm going to do for her. I'm going to do a color, I think I'm going to do a darker color at her base, melted into a fashion shade on her mid-lengths and ends on top of what I already lightened. So yeah, I'm going to create something amazing. I'm going to get really creative with what I do for her. That was a really good question. Thank you. Okay, so there's that. And again, you really want to make sure, one tip I have is you want to make sure that you work those ends because you never want to have spotty ends, especially when you're working with fashion lights. Just go in and really pull these ends down just like that. That's why I always like to work with my panels straight in foils because that way I really can make sure that I'm pulling the hair and I'm getting it saturated and it's all nice and neat just like that. Plus, you know, I don't have to worry about folding a million times and just move on. Okay, here we go. going in here. Okay, so would this work on Demi? Let's see. Would this work on Demi Permanent with 30 volume developer? This work on Demi Permanent with 30. Oh, okay. So I think the question you're asking is, would this color lift Demi Permanent with 30 volume? Because what you want to do, okay, so you want to treat this like you want to remember that this is a lifting system, right? So you have to remember that if you are using this on somebody who is previously lightened, the rules still apply. You want to make sure that you're not lifting on somebody who has already damaged hair. You want to make sure that you're not over lightening somebody who's already has hair that has, hair that is too porous to be worked on, or that might absorb this color, or has like hair that maybe needs a color correction and might need some darker hair color pulled out of it, that like you'll do a strand test and that hair color is not going to budge even with lightener. That's somebody that this may not work on. But remember that this hair color works best with 40 volume. It's designed to work with 40 volume, and that's where you really need to stay. So with that being said, because it does have the ability to lift, it can lift up to 5 levels. If you're working with somebody who does have hair that's colored, my suggestion to you would be to do a strand test on that person and see how it would work for them. Because this is such a fast acting, lifting process, it's 45 minutes, you would really get a good idea of how it would all work out pretty quickly. So for me, that would be, a good way to work around that. So I hope I answered your question in that way. And let's see, how long before the hair starts fading? So Davina, for you, you would say that your hair probably, I would say it's longer than 10 weeks for you. Yeah. So I would say you've already had, you had your hair for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So like around 3 months.
Yeah.
So around 3 months, I would say her hair probably started to fade a little bit. And then it was just up until recently when, it really started to, remember with reds are one of those things that you have to maintain. You need to come in and tone. So for her, because she doesn't do any toning in between, she kind of just lets her hair.
It does its own thing.
She likes to have her hair go full, like we like to do the whole vibrant red violet look on her, and then she's like, I don't want to do anything else here. It's like she likes to have it fade completely out and then have like a new canvas. So which is why she loves this process so much. So for her, she's had it for about 3 months, and then it just started kind of fading out a little bit. But I can kind of turn you around and see where she landed. So this is where she's at. You can see this is where she's at. Just so beautiful. I mean, she still has this gorgeous look to her, but she does have a blank canvas for me to be able to work off of, which is really nice. So that was a really good question. You can see here. Okay, so another question is, what developer are you using? Always 40 volume, which is great. And thank you so much, Schwarzkopf, for helping me with these questions. Okay, and now I'm going to move on. Let's see if I'm missing anything else. You're welcome, Melissa. You guys are awesome. Okay, Melissa wants to know if I'm using L-8 or L-89. So I mixed them because last time when I did her hair, I used L-89. And so for me, personally, I don't keep any client cards from my clients. If they want to do what they did last time, for all of my clients, I always create content. So we'll just look back at their video and that tells me what we did last time. But most of my clients, they're used to being able to get something new all the time. So I don't really look at their client formulas or keep client formula cards because unless it's something that I know for sure that they do all the time and it's never changed, what I'll do is inside of their name next to where I schedule them, I'll put like 5-0, just so I know in general that's what they do. That's like probably the only thing that will never change. But for the most part, everybody gets something different, depending on what I'm going to tone them with or depending on what is going to be different about their look. I always give them something seasonal, something new. That's just the kind of hairstylist I am. I change it up all the time. So for her, last time she got L-89. One thing I'll say about Davina, the one thing she does not change is she doesn't do coppers. She doesn't do like,
We go for color.
we do for, yeah,
color.
she's color all day.
And you're color girl.
Yeah, she likes red violets,
Yeah.
and that's about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think one time we did like an ash brown on you, like a mushroom brown, and it was really pretty.
Yeah.
But then she was like, all right, because Davina's a singer, I have to say that. She's an amazing singer, which is why it was an honor for her to be here with me today and with you all. But Davina was doing a music video and she said, I need, what color hair was it?
Oh my goodness. Which one was it?
It was red.
We've been together for over 10 years, you guys.
Yep.
We've had a history of color, right? My head belongs to Patricia.
So I think it was red, right? It was red. Okay, yes. So she needed, so this is how it faded. I can show you. And no lightener. I've never, there's no lightener in her hair. This is only color. So she, we had to do a red look on her. So this time, and then last time we did a red violet look. Now I'm mixing the two. So I did, I think I did 20 grams of the red violet and 40 grams of the red extra. So that was 40 grams of L-88 and 20 grams of L-89. The reason I did the L-89, 20 grams is because it has the violet in it. So the violet tends to be a little bit stronger than the red. So I wanted to make sure that you could have that balance there. Okay, so let's see. I have more questions here. Okay. Are you overlapping the fashion lights over the previously lightened hair from the fashion lights? Yes. Yes, because in order for me to be able to get the lift and deposit, remember, her hair is in perfect condition and there's no lightener in this hair. It's only fashion lights. And in order for the technology to work, to lift and deposit that fashion shade, because it is hair color, the 40 volume is what is recommended in order to do that. And her hair is always healthy and it has a fiber bond technology in it, which is going to be able to give her hair that healthy result that we're looking for. So yes, that's what I'm doing. So again, this is not, because this is a high lift color, this is really going to make sure that, you know, she's going to get a very healthy result. See, this is what it's going to look like. Yep. Okay. So, so 40 volume is what you're going to use. Do you reapply on the hair that was already lifted with L-series? Okay, so there we go. All right, so yeah, I already went in and I did that. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on this side. So I'm going to go on one more side here. And I'm going to show you how I move away the hair that, again, remember when I'm doing the panels on her hair. So let me show you. Is that okay for you? Yep. And I always like to keep this little front area right here. Okay. So here's all the dark hair in her hair. So she has dark areas in her hair, right? You can see that here. And then she also does have the light areas right in through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to let those areas that are lighter, I'm going to push those areas down. See all the areas that are light through here? Those areas are coming down. Just like that. So what I'm revealing as I push away those areas that are light here, see all those areas that are light, is now what I'm going to put into the board is all the areas of the dark hair that I am comfortable with lightening. That's why I like the technique that I'm using so much, because I'm able to push away the hair that needs to get pushed away in order to reveal the hair that I'm comfortable with. See? And now all I have in my board is all the dark hair. And that's what I wanted to be able to show you all. Okay? And all her dark hair is in that board. And now I'm just gonna go in and color all that dark hair. And all this hair that's back here is all her light hair. And then I'm gonna go back in with that and I'll tone it with whatever fashion shade I wanna tone it with. Just like that. There you go. So there are a lot of ways that you can go in and work around whatever hair that you were lightened with. That's why I like to be able to do the technique that I do, is because if you see areas that may not be strong enough to lighten, you can always push those areas back and work with the new areas of darkness, because I don't always darken every part of my panel. So that's why this works out the way it works out, and it's great. So there you go. For me, I don't do, so air touch is great, but it's going to give you a different result. And so that's why this is for me what I like to do. It's just different. And now I am going to finish up this episode. I'm going to do my last foil here. And thank you guys so much for watching and asking so many questions. I hope you got a lot of information from it, because this is truly one of my favorite ways to lighten the hair without using any lightener. And I feel like you are going to be able to achieve so much with it and create so many different looks for your clients that are amazing. And not just a red violet look, but you can do a copper look. You can do a, you have a beige look, you have an ash look. And so I'm excited for you all to try these out, try them on your clients, tag me. I'd love to see what you come up with. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Davina, for coming on today and for letting me show you how to use this color on you. Let me move this out of your face. If you have any questions, make sure to send Schwarzkopf USA DM. There's also, Schwarzkopf USA has a YouTube channel with so much information that you can go in. You can learn everything about Vibrance, about Blondie, about IGORA Royal Fashion Lights. They also have the Ask E Academy that you can sign up for, get so much knowledge there as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.